Mr. Piscicano here. I am here to walk you through with the demo for the final digital spirit animal composition. We'll be using a lot of the skills and techniques on the Nearpod Draw It app that we've been using both in our Super Defenders unit as well as our spirit animal unit. So let's just jump right in. Now, similar to the superhero defender, we're going to want to pick through the picture finder, a background that we want to set our animal in. I was thinking a lot about this. Now, I'm going to leave it up to you. If you think it's a good idea, you would rather leave your animal, your spirit animal, the spirit animal you've chosen in sort of like its natural habitat, that's fine. Like a forest or on the plains or wherever your animal might exist. And also, if you would like, I think it might be kind of interesting to maybe put the animal in a setting that is more familiar to you, like a city or a neighborhood. Okay, so I was thinking a lot about this and where I would like to put my animal. As you know, I'm from Queens, so I started thinking about places around Queens where my elk might kind of look cool. So I'm going to go to the picture finder. And one of the most iconic and well-known places in Queens is Flushing Meadows Park. It was the site of the World's Fair in 1969, and there's a big globe sculpture that sits in the park. It's very well known in Queens. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find a picture of it. So I'm going to put World's Fair globe. See what I get. All right, and you've probably seen this image at one point or another. So I think this might be kind of like a cool kind of mashup to put the elk in a setting that I'm familiar with. Okay, so I like this picture. All right, I'm looking at this picture. There's kind of some empty space here, so I think I could be able to kind of fight in. Well, actually, I'll try this one. Yeah, let's do this one. Okay, it's kind of centered there, and then I think my animal can kind of go in the foreground here. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. As always, we're going to want to stretch the picture to fill up our white frame as much as we can. Okay, just kind of playing with it a little bit. It can get a little tricky. Oops, just going back. All right, and if it's kind of has like a white border around it, I think that's fine. Let's see if I could just stretch it just a little bit more. Okay, and I'm kind of playing with it here, trying to get it to fill as much of the frame as possible. That's looking pretty good. If you kind of go beyond the frame, just give it like a double tap. It should. All right, so there we go. I'm just going to kind of adjust it again. Okay, so we have our background. Now we're going to go back to the picture finder and we're going to look for our animal. I'm doing an elk. Go ahead and search that. So again, I got a bunch of different pictures of elks. Again, remember always you have the option to search different pages to find the one that best fits you or the one you'd like to model your drawing off. I'm going to go to one more page. Look for my elk. You definitely want to pick a picture of your animal that shows the whole animal, not just like its head like this one, or kind of like a 3/4 pose like this. Obviously you don't want to do anyone where your animal's being hunted, like in these pictures on the left and right. Kind of like this one in the middle shows me the full animal. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Okay. So we have our two pictures now, our background and our animal picture that we're going to use as a model. I'm going to just make it a little bit larger here. All right, I'm going to just kind of reposition it. So I kind of like the way that'll look kind of underneath the globe. And we're ready to start drawing. So again, move back to the drawing tool, adjust your width, make sure it's a skinny width for the trace. and a color that is different from the picture you're working with, so you can clearly see your tracing once we get rid of the original picture. So again, just going back in. And again, we're not just simply going around the entire animal and doing like a silhouette. We're really trying to take our time and kind of break down parts. And as you remember from the last video, kind of add those little sketchy lines and details that'll help us kind of reference parts inside of the animal's body as we then go to color it. Again, I'm just kind of going around those little individual antlers, kind of breaking it down into smaller parts. Okay, it's okay if you go outside the line a little bit. We're artists, we get to take these sorts of liberties. I'm just trying to get as much detail as I see there. Picture's a little bit small, so it's a little hard to trace even for me, but again, just try your best. I really, over the last few weeks using the Draw It app, I've been really impressed with a lot of the pictures that I've been getting from you guys. I really see like a high level of detail and thought put in to what you're drawing. I'm just gonna make a quick edit here along his neck. I'm gonna bring it in a bit, back to the drawing tool. Okay, all right, trying to get that little detail, kind of hint at the mouth a little bit, and then the snout. All right, looking a little bit like Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. And I'm gonna go around the body, around the back, the spine. Now again, I'm not just gonna go around the entire body. I'm gonna break down the leg and the musculature. So the hind leg is about here, a little bit into the grass there, then back up. And then I'm gonna come back around his thigh and just kind of have that slight hint of his muscle, his back leg, and we have the other back leg as well, and then a little line here just to kind of show what's happening. See a little bit of those sketchy lines with the darker areas in the animal's coat, the underbelly of the animal. Again, kind of just putting in those reference lines, those sketch lines to kind of tell me where the color is going to go. You'll have a lot of freedom in terms of the colors that you choose. I'm really open. If people want to do like a traditional sort of color arrangement based on the photo, that's fine. If you kind of want to experiment and maybe work with some colors that are not naturally occurring colors in the animal of your choice, that's fine too. Have fun with it, see what happens, that sort of thing. So again, just kind of hinting at some of those, the hair, the fur of the animal. And pretty much I think we have it here, okay? So again, just to review, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna leave the background picture, but we wanna get rid of the elk picture that helped us trace the drawing. So again, you go back to the picture finder. You are not, repeat, you are not searching anything in the bar. You're gonna just go ahead and close it. You see the two pictures are left behind. Again, your picture has disappeared, but it's not gone forever. You're gonna go ahead and click on the picture, the animal picture that we're gonna get rid of, go down to the trash can, and there we go. So it's gone. Again, we don't see our drawing just yet, but that's easy. All we need to do is go back to the drawing tool, and it pops right up. Okay, so we have our spirit animal set on our background, and now the fun part, we get to design our animal. So like I said, you guys have a lot of freedom in terms of the color choices that you need. The only expectation I'll set is that you have to use at least 3 colors inside of your animal. Whatever colors they are, it's completely up to you. You could think a little bit about color meaning. I know some people have worked on the symbolism lessons unit, and where we talked about the meaning of color and the kente cloth. So if that's something you wanted to introduce into this, I think that that's fine. I'm gonna go with kind of a more natural look, so kind of sticking with these browns and beige and maybe a little bit of black. I'm gonna change to beige, and I'm just gonna widen my drawing tool a little bit, and I'm gonna go in and start to kind of color in. Again, it gets a little tricky, but use those little sketch lines that you made, kind of like the rough look of the drawing tool. I think it works pretty well. All right. It's all right if a little bit of that line is coming through from this the trace. That's no big deal. Kind of gives it a interesting look. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and try and do some of these antlers here. Again, we could always kind of go back with the eraser tool and kind of fine tune those details. But just for now, I'm just trying to get the basic color in. There we go. I'm going to switch colors, go for something a little bit darker, see if I could try and blend some of that color together. Again, it's tricky, but we can get the job done for sure. All right, so I got a little bit of that darker beige in there, kind of like a sand color. Have a little bit on his back hind legs, and maybe just kind of slightly hinting towards his knee and lower leg. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of this darker beige in his snout and on his face. So, all right. Switching color is gonna, as you notice, I'm working from light to dark. That's just kind of something that I do naturally as part of putting together, works in color. So that might be a strategy you want to use. I got that dark color now around the lower legs. Go back in, and again, like you see a little bit of that red coming through from the chase. No big deal. I actually kind of like it. Kind of makes the animal pop a little bit more. All right, so I'm getting that undercoat there on his underbelly. And I'm gonna go, let's put a little bit more of that brown in here in the leg. Okay, I'm gonna switch to my last brown, the darkest brown. I'm gonna leave that for kind of like his neck area. I think that was a nice color to use. All right, I'm switching back. I left some parts out of the antler. Change my drawing width. All right, so I'll go around the ears first. I'm gonna actually try and kind of put in some of those sketchy lines as well. A little bit on his nose. Don't want to give the impression we're drawing Rudolph here. So again, kind of just making those textured kind of lines. I think it works well, and I'm layering the color. I kind of put down some broad areas of color, and now with the small drawing tool kind of going back in there and kind of fine tuning it a bit. Don't want to forget these horns, or rather antlers, excuse me. All right, and again, if some of that underlying color from the trace is coming through, no big deal, nothing to sweat over. Put in the hooves in black. All right. Get some black around his eye and also his snout. All right, and then just quickly, I'm just going to use just a little bit of the eraser tool to kind of touch up the antlers. I think it's a good size, and just kind of make them a little bit more pointy. So I'm trying to get rid of some of that red and kind of whittle down, pare down the lines of the antler. So you see I'm getting a kind of sharper line around the edges of the antler. It kind of works well for me. I'm kind of digging that. All right, so we have here our animal. Now the last step, same thing we did in our practice trace from lesson 2 on spirit animals. We're just going to go ahead and write one word that we feel connects us with the animal that we've chosen for our spirit animal. Mine was this idea of freedom. The elk represents freedom and power. They're beautiful animals, and particularly when I'm in nature, I feel very free. So that was kind of my connection to the elk. So I'm going to come first to the typing agent. Okay, this lets you control the size of your type. and then obviously the color. I'm gonna stick with black, I think, for my my color, and then I'm gonna go ahead and type in freedom. I'm doing it in all caps, and then I'm just gonna adjust the size of the word. I'm also gonna adjust the size of the box. So you see, I got a nice big freedom in there. I like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and move it around a little bit. Oops, so I'm gonna get rid of that one. Go back to this one. Try and kind of line it up. And you can really put it anywhere you feel is most important. Think about the composition. Where's it gonna work the best? All right, so that's kind of working. Maybe right around there. Let me check it. Go back to the drawing tool. Yeah, so that kind of works. So that's pretty much it. Again, you need your background picture, you need your animal picture, you draw your trace on top of the animal picture, then delete the picture to which you're tracing on top of. Fill in with color. Again, you have free reign in terms of the colors you want to use. If you wanted to use something natural like I did, that's fine. If you wanted to maybe take some risks and experiment a little bit with kind of different colors around your animal, that's fine too. Make sure that background image that you're tracing from is erased with the picture finder. And then lastly, your word connecting you to your animal. What's that thing that connects you to the animal or your spirit animal? I hope this was helpful. Again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with. Have a good time, and I'll see you next lesson.